Good morning. I am Kevin Price. Delighted as always to be with you, talking to you about you and your business. We got a lot to cover on today's program, so I think I'm going to jump straight into it. And, all of us, before I do jump into it, I do want to mention today's program brought to you in part by our friends over there at usdailyreview.com. Make sure you like them on Facebook, follow them on Twitter. And most of us who have grown up in the United States, at least, know about the Best Western brand. It was one of those brands my folks looked for when we were traveling as when I was a young person growing up, and always enjoyed our stay. And it's really an iconic brand, and yet it's going through some pretty amazing changes. And we're just excited to talk about them here today on the program. I've got the Senior Vice President of them for Brand Development and Brand Management, Ron Pohl. Ron Pohl, welcome to the program.
Oh, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you on. Talk a little bit about what you do for the folks there at Best Western, and kind of give us the elevator speech to this brand that we're all familiar with, but maybe not that familiar with these days.
Happy to do so. Brand management within Best Western is really the operations arm, which oversees all of the standards, customer service, and continuing growth of the brand, which includes development of hotels throughout North America and actually parts of Asia. So really the operating arm of the company.
Yep, and then tell us about Best Western itself.
Well, we're going to be celebrating our 70th year next year. So as you mentioned, we've been around for quite a while. We are a very valued and trusted brand. But up until 5 years ago, you recognized Best Western as only one hotel name. 5 years ago, we split the brand into three different types of hotels: Best Western Plus, and Best Western Premier, because there was customer confusion with the different levels of product and service experience we had. So we wanted to avoid that confusion and grow the brand in a way that customers would be able to identify the different product experiences. Today, we've grown to 4,100 hotels in over 100 countries. We've been international for nearly 40 years now. And we've continued to enhance the brand with even more offerings with products beyond those three. Now we have Executive Residency, which is an extended stay product. We have a soft brand, which is our BW Premier collection. Last year, we announced Vibe, which is our contemporary boutique property for urban markets. And just a few weeks ago, we introduced a new mid-scale boutique product called Glow. So we're really offering a number of different products based on today's connected traveler and finding a way to provide different experiences for those travelers.
Gotta love it. And when did you begin dividing them up into the three, the Plus and Premier? When did that happen?
That happened about 5 years ago.
And it takes a long time for people to realize that.
It really does, and providing that separation and understanding in the eyes of the customer takes a little bit of time. But we've got some other key initiatives that will really help customers to understand that differentiation with a new logo that we'll be hopefully announcing at the end of this year.
Talk a little bit about first of all, how your business model works. I'm assuming is it primarily franchises, or some owned by corporate, some owned by franchisees? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, great question. We are actually 100% in a franchise-type model. We're a little bit different than a typical franchise, but with relation to the industry itself, it is completely franchised throughout all of the world. So we do not own any hotels, but we work to support those hotels in their performance, from revenue, customer satisfaction. Our entire focus is on how we can help those hotels meet customer expectations better.
Talk a little bit how you are different from other franchise situations. You mentioned that you were.
Well, yeah, the uniqueness about our business model is we are actually a not-for-profit organization. And there's really not any other companies out there in the hotel industry that do that. We are an association model, similar to a homeowners association might be, but we have hotels. So if you think about that, we're not publicly owned, we're not privately owned. We're owned by all of the hotel owners, and like an association, it's a zero-budget approach to the business model, which allows us to be extremely attractive to developers, because we don't need to make that quarterly earnings report. All of our effort is focused on how can we make those hotels more successful.
Right. You're not like most of these publicly owned companies.
That's correct.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's really, I think, a great selling point.
It is, and fees are typically 50% of what a company that needs to be profitable.
Wow, that's incredible. It's incredible. And what happens when something is entirely profit-driven is that often the customer gets lost in the process.
You're absolutely right.
So tell me a little bit, kind of give me a percentage breakdown of those three, the Premier, the Plus, and your regular brand, how many you have of each. But, give me broad percentages, if you will.
Sure. It's about 70% of our hotels are Best Western hotels. We've got 20% that are Best Western Plus and about 10% that are Best Western Premier.
So since you divided them up, I'm assuming some of yours already met what you thought were at least plus criteria, if not Premier. Is that true when you decided to divide them up, or was it? Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. We knew that. We looked at some key measures like the AAA and Canadian Hotel Automobile Association, how they rated hotels, as well as some other industry product standards, and aligned hotels into each of those mid-scale or upper mid-scale or actually upscale product lines. So we wanted to make sure we were aligned with the competition, so we didn't create any additional customer confusion. But by doing that, the amazing thing and what we thought would occur is when we aligned ourselves with those competing brands, we actually began to improve performance because the customer's expectations were met. When a customer's expectations are met, they're willing to pay the appropriate market rates for those products. So it actually created a halo effect for the entire brand because the customer service needs were continuing to grow.
Right. Talk a little bit about the Glow brand. Kind of give us the elevator speech for that.
Well, Glow is extremely exciting for us. We just announced it 30 days ago at our annual convention. But it was actually born out of a successful launch we had the year prior with Best Western, with our Vibe product. And that's an upper mid-scale boutique hotel that would be positioned in urban markets like downtown Houston, where there's a lot of foot traffic and excitement and people that want to come and stay and then visit the local attractions, not spending a lot of time in their guest room, more in the public space and then visiting the city. But we knew that wouldn't always work in other than downtown urban markets, and there wasn't any boutique product in the mid-scale. And in the mid-scale and upper mid-scale, the hotel industry's actually been pretty boring in its product offerings.
Well, honestly, in urban areas like you're talking about, you either have upscale or ghetto.
That's right. That's right. And and boutique hotels are really popular right now.
Right.
And so the Vibe was a product for the downtown urban markets, but then we had developers coming to us and say, gosh, I'd really like to build that in a secondary market or in an office complex or the like. And we weren't confident that the Vibe product would work. So and the price point would be a little bit lower in those secondary markets. So we developed Glow, which was a mid-scale boutique product that could be built in those locations that had slightly larger room sizes because people will spend more time in their rooms working and so on, but would be extremely attractive to today's traveler. And I don't separate that out to millennials. We certainly know that we've got to be attractive to them going forward, but this is something that's just, even people our age like exciting hotels. We don't want just the same cookie-cutter experience every time we travel.
Yeah, and then with just literally 30 seconds left, tell us about the last recently added brand, Vibe. And we really only have about 30 seconds left.
Yeah, again, Vibe is all about the experience in a downtown market and having excitement in the lobby. People now like to spend time in a communal environment in the lobby and providing food, beverage, and the best in technology in that hotel experience.
Very good. Ron Pohl, thank you so much for being with us. You're with Best Western, Senior Vice President for Brand Management, and we're delighted to have you on the show.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
You bet. When we come back, much more for you. Do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usatoreview.com, and this is The Price of Business.
it's been getting so